everybody, and welcome to the Gaming Pubcast, episode 23. Oh my god, you two are together.
Well, we're in the same room.
Yeah, we're definitely not together.
Does Tom know that you're there, Duncan?
What? Oh.
For those on video, yes, I am sitting right next to Tom instead of on another screen.
Yes.
Yay.
How are you? Are you alright?
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, all good. All good. Yes.
Still coughing, but that's all right.
Oh yes, he's getting over a chest infection, which I'll just sit further away until I'm off screen. In terms of gaming, what have I been doing? I was at work last night and I played a lot of Game Boy Advance games because somebody mentioned Street Fighter 2 Turbo Revival, that it was the best version he played. So I played that, and knowing the technology, it's a fantastic port. It is a fantastic port for the Game Boy Advance, but it's because it's not on. I wasn't playing it on the Game Boy Advance. The animation, the low frame animation, showed its face.
It lacked.
So playing it on the actual hardware, it's pretty good. It looks like it's quite fluid motion, but when you're playing it on an up-to-date device that runs at 60 frames per second, no problem, it showed its slight lack of animation. But no, as I said, knowing the technology, brilliant. You know, back in the day, if you had a Game Boy Advance, you would have been like mind exploded at that. It was absolutely.
I did have a Game Boy Advance, but I never played Street Fighter. So
I also played Street Fighter Alpha 3, and that was a bit more cartoony. Definitely better animation. So I presume it was a later version.
Yes, it would have been.
Being number 3. But yeah, the cartooniness and it I don't know, there was just something that didn't feel right about it. Although maybe it was just how it looked. The cartoon just didn't sit right with me.
Yeah. Not one of my favourites, not one I ever enjoyed.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I played lots of other games, like The Simpsons Road Rage. Did you know there was a version of that on Game Boy Advance?
Yep.
It's basically Crazy Taxi, but in like an F-Zero type world.
I played it on the PS2, I think.
Well, the PS2 was a great sort of Grand Theft Auto kind of game. This was just, imagine F-Zero.
Road Rage is just Crazy Taxi, isn't it? Hit and Run is the Grand Theft Auto sort of version.
Oh, no, hang on. What am I thinking? No, I don't know.
There is another one where you can get out of the car and you can go and smash.
No, that's Hit and Run, isn't it? That's Hit and Run. Sorry, I'm getting them confused.
Just Crazy Taxi.
Yeah, you're right. So yeah, it is basically Crazy Taxi. But yeah, in an F-Zero style, what they call it, Mode 7 graphics.
Yeah.
There's some invisible barriers that are abysmal on it, so it just really annoyed me because it would tell me to go in a direction. The second you had to turn, and the directions weren't good, and didn't like it. Harry Potter, that was okay, and Goblet of Fire.
I enjoyed that.
I looked at what was the biggest file size game, and that was the biggest Game Boy Advance file size.
Yeah.
So
what did it come in at?
25 megabyte. So it was about the equivalent of 5 or 6 MP3s. Well, your laptop doesn't like recording things, does it?
Have you completed it?
Say again?
Did you complete the game?
Oh God, no. I probably played about 30 different games in one night. So I think I played a couple of them for maybe an hour, but the rest of them were just to try. What else was I trying? Yeah, I was just emulating a load of games. And
when I had the Game Boy Advance, the one I remember is Mario Kart, which I really liked.
Yeah,
it was really good. A really frustrating game though. I broke my
That
Game
was
Boy.
your favourite version.
The Super Nintendo.
The Super
ones,
Nintendo
yeah. The
version.
Game Boy Advance ones had really difficult controls, if I remember rightly.
I mean, I broke my Game Boy Advance in that game. I headbutted it. And then
You headbutted
it
I
through
did.
frustration. Then
I was pretty young. I think I was can't remember. And I had to pretend to my mum and afterward, because she'd bought it for me, that I had I made up some crazy story, because I was like, how can I? So I said it was somehow under a chair, and I sat on the chair, and I then picked it up, and it had this all the black screen.
Is it there with a big bruise on your forehead?
Yeah, and Mario Kart imprinted on my head. Yeah, I found it. Yeah, one of those. Must have been I don't know, maybe I must have gone over a banana or something.
I think I did own a Game Boy Advance, but I think it was one that I actually lost. How I lost it, I can't remember. But I was obviously quite old already. Not old, but I mean, I wasn't a child when I had it.
I never had one when I was a child. I had a Game Boy original, and then the next handheld I had was the PSP. So it was a massive jump.
So I went Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, and then I don't think I really had any then, and I've never had any since, really, apart from the Switch, if you class. Switch is,
I
had a PSP as well, but I'm just thinking Nintendo. But
I've had quite a lot. I think I've had the same three as you. Those all the Game Boys. Then I had the Atari Lynx, I had the PSP, I had the PS Vita, I had a DS. My stepson had a 2DS, which I then took over when he stopped playing with it. I've got Steam Deck. But yeah, I've got a Switch. That's how I play the games. I think probably this. Yeah, I've had loads.
I had a Game Gear as well. I had one of those.
Game Gear, yeah.
I had to go through about
a rucksack to keep all the AA batteries.
Yeah, I was just constantly near a plug, so it didn't really feel portable in the end. Because I was like, can't go on this.
That is the best way.
As an adult, obviously collecting, I had pretty much every single handheld I can think of. The only one I never owned was the Sega Nomad and the PC Engine GT.
Well, the Nomad, that was the Mega Drive, portable Mega Drive.
Yeah. Mainly because the cost of them was extortionate.
Did they bring it out over here?
No.
Nomads are travellers, aren't they? So that's pretty clever.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. They actually were built off the aeroplane technology they used to put Mega Drives into aeroplanes. So you had them in every single seat, and they then converted that and put a screen in it, called it the Nomad, and off you went. So
I was on a plane in the early 90s.
Yeah.
I still remember going on an international flight and having, I think there was Mario you could play on it was some kind of Mario, so it was probably a Super Nintendo based thing.
Yeah.
Oh, and it was like, wow, I can play these games. But I remember it having some cheap controller that was hardwired in kind of thing, and it didn't control very well. Or it had just been broken and never repaired or whatever, I don't know. But it wasn't very good. Can't remember who that was with. No, I don't know. We started off with me.
Tom,
what have you been playing?
I've been playing Roland in the Caves on the Amstrad, which is you literally get googling. You have it almost looks like a frog, which you have to jump around into a cave and make your way out of the cave to the top. It's extremely frustrating. It's extremely hard, but it's a fantastic game that looks really basic, but is an absolute joy to play. They also had Roland on the Ropes and other games, so it had a number of games.
Apparently, it was a Spanish game originally called Bugaboo the Flea.
Yeah, I've got that version as well.
Oh, yeah.
But
Bugaboo the Flea.
Oh no, later published in Spain as La Pulga.
But yeah, it's really, really fun game, extremely frustrating. And like you with the Game Boy, as a kid, my Amstrad I used to hit the keyboard really hard out of frustration, and I did snap the joystick a couple of times, so which then subsequently got glued. But I've also been playing Game Pass as well. Yeah, nothing very specific. I've been just trying to make my way through just some of the games, just to see what they're like, just trying to find some favourites. But as Game Pass has just been released on the Quest today, which, in case you're wondering, boys and girls, it's the 14th of December. So tonight I plan to play the Quest, the Game Pass on the Quest on a nice big fat 120-inch display.
Yes,
So,
today though, or was it last night? I think they released the app.
Yes,
exciting.
So looking forward to playing that, and then we're going to play a bit of Resident Evil on PlayStation VR shortly, I think, as well.
At night as well. You got.
I'm going to drive home in the dark by myself
in Southend.
Why don't you get your wife? Why don't you get your wife to pick you up?
She'd have to walk over it. I've got the car.
You're not staying the night.
I don't know, I'll just be cowering in a corner after playing that.
Hilarious.
Well, so give us an example of something you played?
So the new Forza.
Forza.
Yeah, played that. Madness of Alice.
Oh, that's a classic.
That's an old PS3 game, but on Game Pass.
Technically 360.
Yeah, but we try to ignore that one. And Killer Instinct. So the newer Killer Instinct, which is dreadful, simply put. So yeah, but rolling the case has definitely been the one for me.
He's been playing Game Pass. Did you get your new TV?
No, my internet was meant to get done today, but they ran out of time. So basically, it was booked in 10 till 12. So I've got my new TV. It's all set up, waiting for the new internet because I get Game Pass with it, and the new internet will be like 900 megabytes per second. So I was sat here. I've had it since Monday. The TV, it's up on the wall and everything. Got my PS5 controller all connected to it, and they weren't there at 12. So I rang them up at 12:05, and they said they're running late. They're going to be there at 2, but it was my daughter's. So I said I couldn't be here, but unless
ultimate frustration.
So they're coming out on Tuesday now, but I was looking forward.
That'll be worth a 3 months rental.
Yeah, or just say just chuck in another 12 months Game Pass. That's fine. I'll have 2 of those vouchers, please.
Yeah, but for 2 years then. But so I'm really looking forward to try out some game, maybe like Starfield or whatever. But maybe
exciting.
Seems like a big game. But what I have been playing this week though, so a Wii U. I've been playing my Wii U. So that class as the portable, kind of not, because you need to be like next.
Portable around the living room.
Portable around the living room, yeah. I'm sure. So I played Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, which I just play on and off all the time because I just really like the game. Did one of the bosses today, which is a massive blowfish. Just the bosses are really fun, but also really frustrating, especially when you know you're right to the end and you've got like 1 heart left and then you die and you feel like taking your anger out on the console, and then you
just don't headbutt the Wii U controller.
You're not replacing that.
Yeah, I got no. Well, I do have both my parents, but my parents aren't going to be buying me a new Wii U. It's going to be myself. So I'm there, and I got a lot on that Wii U in terms of like games I've downloaded and bought from the Nintendo eShop when it was open. But so I'm going to look after it, and it's like a Zelda special edition one. So. And I've played Wind Waker this week. I've got the HD version, which always play. I've completed it a couple of times, but just felt like starting it up again. Not one of my favorite Zelda games, but not my favorite Zelda game. But like Twilight Princess is my favorite one, which is also available on the Wii U. But yeah.
In review, Martin, I did bring down Donkey Kong to play on my Wii U.
Yeah,
it has sat on the side, so I will get to it, and we shall compare notes.
It's the same one, Tropical Freeze.
Yeah.
Tropical Freeze. Yeah, it's also on the Switch as well. So they brought it all out on the Switch as well. So
it's almost like somebody else could play that.
definitely.
Bit of emulation.
It's hard. It's not as hard as like the Donkey Kong Countries, but it is still quite a hard game. But I think that's what you want from platformer, isn't it? Like Crash Bandicoot, About Time is a really hard game. You want a game that is.
Yeah, I mean, the Crash
You don't
Bandicoot
want it
games,
too hard, but you do want it difficult.
I certainly don't remember the Crash Bandicoot games being as hard as the remakes or the remasters or whatever they were.
The remakes were really hard.
I was going to say, I remember I played a remake and on somebody else's because I don't own it, and I was like, it was like level 2, and I'm dying and repeated it. I'm like, what's going on?
Well, About Time.
Was it this hard, or am I just rubbish? I've just got old, I think, but. That's what I thought, but a lot of people online, I think, I've read.
It's About Time. I was playing About Time at the same time I was playing Sekiro, and I couldn't think of there wasn't much difference in difficulty. Sekiro is made by From Software, so I was like, all right, I need a bit of a release from this difficult game of Sekiro, so I'm going to go and play on Crash Bandicoot. It came out more stressful. I was like, okay, I'm just going to not play.
So, I need to relax. Let's play some Super Meat Boy.
Super Tail. What's it? That one is there.
Oh, Lucky Super Tail. Yeah, is that what it's called? The one with the fox. I loved that game. I thought it was really good. It was just the right difficulty for an old, not quite as good as he used to be gamer like myself. Yeah, loved it. Loved that for platformers. But then again, and I loved the Rayman games. Those are
Rayman, the Rayman Legends game on the Wii.
Yeah.
It's on the PS4 and
so good.
I like Bubsy. Do you remember Bubsy?
Yes, and there was 3D one of that as well. Wasn't
they've done a recent
3D.
remake actually of that game, and it wasn't very good. So.
Well, I'll tell you what. If we're talking platformers, what's it called? Marsupilami, I think it's called. It just came up on one of these bundle things where you can make your own bundle. It was like $2.99 for 3 games, and so I added it. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's like quite good looking, cartoony platformer. It's on Steam. I don't know whether it's on other platforms, but it's simple.
Either of you tried Shovel Knight? That's a really good.
Yes, actually,
it's the modern, but it's based like they made it look like it's like a early 90s 16-bit sort of. But it's not bad.
It's one of those ones that's hard to master, isn't it?
I really enjoyed it, and there's like your different modes, different characters that you can play, and they got different stories. So the game. Like the music as well. It's like very 90s sort of
and MIDI music.
Well. Yeah. So no, I if you ever, I think you've played it by the sounds of it, but if you haven't played it, I definitely.
No, I mean, I've literally tried it for a few minutes. I think I can't remember where I tried it on, but no, I've heard very good things about it, but just never one that's jumped out. What's the other one? Got Shovel Knight and Hollow Knight.
That's it. Hollow Knight.
Hollow Knight is another one in the same kind of vein. That's hard, but not Super Meat Boy hard kind of thing.
You got Game Pass, Tom. Will-O-Wisp. Is it Will-O-Wisp?
Ori and the Will of the Wisp.
That's a really good.
Tried it.
The Ori games. They're some of the most beautiful games you'll get.
Oh yeah, they're beautiful to look at and good games as well.
They're Metroidvania kind of platformers, but the problem with Metroidvanias for me is, again, going back to the being old thing, is I just get lost in them, and unless there's literally an arrow, jump onto that bit, then jump there. No, not there.
That's what I needed for Batman Arkham series.
It just unless sometimes there'll be a map. And I'll be like, I know I've got to get there, but I can't work out how to get there. And that's where you've got to jump, swing, boost, jump, swing, boost, jump, swing, boost. And then you get to the platform above you. I'm like, no.
You can just type in YouTube, can't you? Like something like a walkthrough or whatever, and then like skip to the bit where you're at, and then you're like,
But with some of these things, though, they're like, yes, all you've got to do is these 15 different motions to get up there. No thanks.
I was playing Twilight Princess, and I played that game and there was one bit, and how many times I played it, and I couldn't work out how to beat. So I had to YouTube it, and I was like, I've completed this game 5 times, and I can't work out. And I was thinking, how did I work this out back in like the early 2000s? Because there was a bit on a picture, and you had to hit it with your arrow, so the picture would come down, and it was like a secret. And I was like, I would have never. Like somehow I worked it out, but
magazine guide or something like that.
Yeah, so
I feel you. I feel you. Nowadays, after a month of not playing something, like No Man's Sky, I played No Man's Sky. Well, I bought it I think when it was about a year old, so it had a redemption story, and I had about 3 weeks where I didn't play it after playing it for about 5-6 hours, and that was it. I didn't have a clue how to play it and never touched it since, because the learning curve of coming back to it was just, but I need the tutorial again. And I was thinking the tutorial was about 2 or 3 hours.
God.
So, well,
yeah,
I'll say that.
No Man's Sky, it's a good game, but that opening bit where you're just stuck on the planet where you're trying to build your...
Yeah, that was the thing. I came back to it and I was in space and I didn't know where the hell I was meant to be going, what I was meant to be doing, how do I get fuel, how do I craft things. I'm like, I don't know how anything works.
Sounds like Starfield.
Oh, no, imagine Starfield, but a lot more complex.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's No Man's Sky. Because it is, you're on a planet and you have to mine loads of materials and then craft them into things, but you have limited inventory space, so you have to put it onto your ship, and it all made sense when I went through the tutorial, but then 3 weeks later it was like I was trying to learn Japanese.
Walking up No Man's Sky, because obviously when that came out, a bit panned by the critics. Obviously it has redeemed itself over time, but I think you wanted to
well, we were going to say about
the news in regards to a certain game that has not been.
There was a game called The Day Before. I think it's been in the news a lot because I think for the past 2 years, it's been in the news not for the right reasons. There's been various, I think, plagiarism claims and trailers that aren't showing what it actually is. And it was advertised as an MMORPG kind of, is set in a zombie city.
Apocalyptic.
And it's it was by a very small team or a very small company the trailers looked amazing, and it's come out. It's been accused of being a scam. It's come out, and by the looks of it, it's pretty much what everybody thought. Apparently, cities were empty. There was nothing in it. There was bugs, which meant people couldn't play, or all sorts of things. Really, it became the worst reviewed game below Overwatch 2, which apparently has got review bombed and everything. And then a few days later, I think 4 days after it got released, they announced that Fantastic were shutting down.
Yep.
And they were shutting down the game as well. So basically, it's
a load of refunds.
They apparently are sorting out refunds for people. Whether everybody will get one, no, I don't think everybody knows. But if you have bought it, get a refund. But yeah, so I think it was one of these ones where everybody could see it being a failure, and it was a failure. But
it was like before it came out, because it was an early access, wasn't it? So that's the irony that they already did the early access, and it's not even going to get to its main sort of release. But before it came out, it was on the most wish list, wasn't it? One of the most.
Oh, it was also because the trailers made it look amazing. But they overreached, I think. And apparently, there's been in the news today that because it was advertised as an MMO, and there was an ex-employee or something who's come out and said it was never an MMO. We don't know why it was advertised as an MMO, and if anybody said anything to any of the higher ups, they were kicked off the team.
It's just like an extraction shooter, isn't it?
Yeah, and a pretty poor one at that. And most people who bought it have said just get the Division 2. And that was before it actually got shut down. But yeah, so I think, chat about games that have had a a redemption.
But in 2023, though, there's been a few games this year that like you usually get one a year, but there's been a few. Like, because you had Gollum that came out.
Terrible games.
King Kong as well. Looks like it's and not as much, but Redfall had a bit of a bad sort of launch in it in terms of what was the expectation compared to reality. I think if there's a high expectation and the game doesn't quite live up to it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Redfall the thing is, Redfall, everyone was assuming, because it was Arcane, people were assuming that it was going to be another Dishonored and it was going to be perfect and brilliant and all this kind of thing. And it was average, kind of thing. It was just, It was just a game that...
I guess the expectations was what made it seem...
Whereas
if there were low expectations, then it would have been probably like seen as, okay, that game wasn't too bad.
It certainly didn't need Phil Spencer to apologise for it. When it was like, Phil Spencer's apologised for Redfall, I was like, really? Why? Just go, it wasn't as good as we thought.
Shit happens. That's what they. I shouldn't have probably said that, but that's how they the day before. That's what they responded to a tweet, didn't they? Someone was angrily criticising their game, and
I saw that. Yeah.
What was that?
One of the developers. They responded to a tweet criticising the day before game with what I just said, which I won't repeat. I'm going to see not the best way to respond to customers buying your game.
Really comical.
And then they came out with a more professional one saying, well, we apologise about.
The thing is, you got things on Redfall, which, it wasn't great. It was for me, it was probably a 6 out of 10 kind of thing. It wasn't a 10 out of 10. But, if there's lots of games out there that are 6 out of 10s that people buy.
Cyberpunk when it first came out.
Cyberpunk was another game which I thought was really good, but because it was by CD Projekt and they did The Witcher, everyone just thought it was going to be game of the year, one of the best games ever made. Because it was.
I played it on Series X, and Series X it worked pretty much flawlessly for me.
More the bugs, wasn't it, on the
PlayStation
4?
Which have been sorted now.
I totally understand the Xbox One owners and PS4 owners being really angry because it didn't work properly on theirs. What they should have done is they should have gone, right, we're sorry, Xbox One and PS4, we're just going to either cancel it or put it off for a year. There won't be any DLC for it. We recommend you get it on the current gen, not the old gen. But they didn't. So they learnt their lesson, and I think everybody's... Have you played it?
I have. I think it's fantastic.
It's redeemed. They've redeemed themselves, haven't they? With like No Man's Sky, it was sort of taken some time, but I think most people would say they're good games now.
I haven't played Phantom Liberty though, and at some point I will. But
that the DLC for?
Yeah, I'm trying to go through because they've released version 2.0 with all the new skill trees and all this kind of thing. So I'm trying to slowly go through the game again.
Another sort of game
it's another one with controls that after I go back after 2 weeks, I'm like, it's not as complex as No Man's Sky. But it takes me a good half an hour to work out all the buttons, and it's like, oh, hang on, I can do that, can't I? And
even Starfield at the beginning though had some people felt quite let down by it. It was
still people have
again that was because the expectation was so high, wasn't it?
We're getting a download now, aren't we? We're getting something else. We're getting an extra mission or an ultra hard edition.
Probably. I mean, there will be all sorts of things officially released over the years. There will be more missions. Don't release more guns or anything like that. No one really cares about the guns. Just leave that to the modders. Just give big content, like story.
They've had haven't they? Because they had Fallout 76, which was again another game but because you were comparing it to the ones that came before it, Fallout 4, Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, or some games.
Well, it had no NPCs, did it, to start with?
Yeah, and it was online only, wasn't it, in terms of... But
yeah, I think it's still online only, but at least I think there are NPCs on it now. But I mean, somebody like me, because it was it was a paid game originally. It wasn't on Game Pass. As soon as I heard it was online only, I was like, no thanks. I don't generally play. I'm quite miserable and lonely.
Population 1 on the Quest, which was meant to be the VR version of Fortnite, and it was.
Was it a shooter?
Yeah, it's basically Fortnite within VR, but they were going to have this whole community. And they have got hundreds of millions of players. But when it first came out, it was dreadful, really dreadful, massive letdown. And it's a free game, so you can't complain. But and also now you're going to have to correct me on this one. I'm not sure if it was a remake of Gauntlet or whether it was Conan, but there was a
Conan Exiles.
Might have been set in like a labyrinth, and
no, Conan Exiles is like a survival game.
Oh, that's a good go for now, actually. But it was it was
that's
free
Conan
game.
Exiles is the one where you can be you. I think you spawn naked,
Amazing.
as in like dingle dangle, dingle dangle.
Yeah, that's a bit like Ark, though, isn't it? That one.
Yeah, it's a
But
bit like Ark.
My son's got
tougher. Yes.
Yeah. But this one was set in a labyrinth, and you open the gates and out comes all these things at you, and you fight, and it was meant to be graphically superior and things like this, but in fact it was dreadful. And it was a free game. PlayStation gave it away for free on PlayStation Plus a couple of years ago. So
I don't know that.
It's a hack and slash type.
PlayStation Plus games. Let's look at.
So what like games? Because we've like said about games which have just been panned, but some of them haven't been that bad. What have there been like games where you've played and you think this is just so bad I can't even play it anymore? I'm sure there has been plenty.
I'm racking my brains.
Any that
ones that are bad. I mean, recently I've had one that has been quite lauded. It's been sort of a cult popular game. It's Arcade Paradise. And I wanted to love it, and I was enjoying it. It's just on Xbox. It just crashed every hour, or I'd start it up and it would just stop accepting the button input. So I'd be able to move around, but just wouldn't be able to interact with anything, or there'd be a graphical glitch, and I wouldn't be able to save. So I'd have to exit out and code back in, and I'd lose an hour of gameplay. But yes, and there was just so many crashes. On Xbox, very rarely do games crash for me. That's the console experience.
Mine would be the Simpsons game. Do you remember that one after the movie? I don't know if it was actually called the Simpsons movie game, but it was had a yellow cover and you had Homer on the front running across the cover. And
was that Hit and Run?
No, it was actually called the Simpsons game, and you went through various levels that matched some of the episodes from the Simpsons. Graphically, there you go. Graphically, it was fantastic. But as a game, it was so frustrating and so, I don't know. I think a lot of people thought we were going to get the Simpsons arcade. What we got was limited.
Has any of you played Superman 64?
Oh, God. Horrendous game.
That was like one of the only games where, not because it was like, it was just so bad that I was trying to fly. You couldn't stop when you were flying unless you like sort of flew into like a solid object, wasn't it? Like I remember just.
These are the games when people say, "Oh, games back in the day they were so much better." There was no bugs or anything like that. A, yes, there was plenty of bugs in plenty of games, and B, when there were games that were that terrible, they couldn't be patched. So
the Superman game on the N64 is now really sought after.
Is it?
Yeah.
Not to play that.
Not to play, just to collect.
Superman. I remember it. I haven't played it for a while because I haven't played it since the N64. But I can remember, and it sort of stayed with me how horrific Superman looked.
Yeah, it was very much based off the animated series, but badly drawn. So.
Like an overhead bit.
Yeah. It had 3D graphics and then overhead. So
yes, it's like cel shaded animation kind of look. It sort of looks a bit like Hit and Run, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But isn't Hit and Run. Let's face it, Hit and Run is the best. Well, it's all the Simpsons fighting game, that's pretty good. Sorry, I'm going back to
Is that the
something else.
wrestling one?
No, the 4-player, like the Turtles kind of game.
Oh,
you had the
Simpsons
arcade
Yeah.
cabinet.
That got a HD remake on the PlayStation 3
Yeah, I think I remember
limited release. But if you had it, you kept it. But once it was gone forever. And like Mickey Mouse Castle Illusion, Steam Deck, you can still get it. You can still get it on Android, Play Store. But with the Simpsons Arcade, you can't get it. The license has been pulled by Konami.
Boo.
Yeah.
Boo.
It's another one as well, just while I'm thinking of terrible games I played. But Aliens, Colonial Marines.
Oh, yes. That
was
was
like a game I was looking forward to play as well, which probably made it worse.
First-person shooter, wasn't it? It was just completely soulless, wasn't it? It was just generic, boring. Run along this, shoot a few things. Run along another corridor, shoot a few things, and they just ran at you as well, didn't they? There was no AI hardly at all.
No.
It's just god, yeah.
Alien Firestorm was Fireteam. Yeah, it's pretty bad as well.
It's not bad. It's just, again, it's a 6 out of 10 kind of thing.
If you're playing 4-player,
it's fun with friends.
Yeah, but without, it's not a goer.
I saw one of the bit about the day before as well. They someone said about, I was reading one of the reviews, and they said about the zombies just being really stupid. Basically, if you stand on a car, you're invincible. Zombies can't work.
One of my favourite reviews for it was apparently this isn't a scam. Kind of wish it was. But now it has turned out pretty much well. If everybody gets their money back, it wasn't a scam. They just didn't do a very good job. If not everybody gets their money back, or if the publisher or Valve have to take a financial hit for this, then it was a complete scam.
I wonder if that'll be the worst game of 2023. Do you reckon it'll take over Gollum as the worst game of 2023?
I think if there was awards going for worst game, it would definitely be there. The thing is, you have all the trolls with things like Overwatch 2, where, there's problems with it. I don't know. I don't play it. But it's not the worst game. It's literally, until the day before came out, Overwatch 2 was the worst rated game on Steam.
I think Terminator Resistance has got to be up there somewhere.
Which one? I don't know.
That's the most recent Terminator game, and they've just done the Max.
Wasn't that the same people who did Robocop?
I think it is actually, yeah. But apparently that's quite good.
Robocop's quite good, apparently. Yeah. I want that.
But Resistance, I got it. It's okay, but it's not what you want. I think most people want a Terminator 2 arcade with a bit more free world roaming. Seeing the
so you can go back in time to modern. Imagine that you have 2 different places you can go back in time.
Yeah, and then see the skin come off the Terminator as you shoot it. That kind of thing. There was a Terminator arcade, Terminator Salvation arcade, which was phenomenal. And I think people wanted a home version of that as well. I don't know if you've ever seen that. That was incredible.
So what is, Martin, what's your best redemption game? What's your favourite? What's your number one? Who do you think's had the best redemption story?
For me, probably No Man's Sky, I think.
So you're looking forward to their next game? Was it Light My Fire? Something like that, Light My Fire. It's on a planet instead of a universe.
That is a Take That song, isn't it? Like My Fire.
Come on, baby, like my fire. Yep, that one.
Got Lulu in it. So, but if it's anything like the song, then I'm looking forward to it.
Tom, so what would be your redemption story?
Probably Rocket League.
Rocket League?
When it first came out, it was pretty horrific. And but it's really coming to its own.
Yeah, it was very bare bones, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it's really coming
seasons, isn't it?
I actually bought that. Yeah, I mean, I bought it when it was about 6 months old because they were giving it away for. I think I bought it in the end for about £4.
I think I got
it's free now, isn't it?
Well, it's free to play now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I brought on my Switch. It was really difficult to play on the Switch. I thought I was just really bad at it, but turns out I wasn't actually that bad. I got a PC and I went up all the ranks and stuff. But that's one game I had to delete in the end, uninstall, because I found I'd become like an addict. And I was like,
it's good with friends as well. Good with friends.
3 in the morning, coming off, I'd be like, said to my partner, be like, why are you always tired? I'd be like, work's just really hard at the moment. Actually, I've just been on Rocket League.
Don't speak too loud.
For me, probably Cyberpunk, mostly because it was fine for me from the beginning. So, it's not everybody else.
You're just happy that other people now see it.
Yeah, so. Exactly. I'm happy that it's even better now, and everybody's like, "Yay!"
Yeah, because it almost like could have potentially sort of ruined CD Projekt's reputation, which
it did very much. I mean, they're like Valve. They own GOG and a few other things, so they've got money, plenty of money. Hence why they can do the big budget things like The Witcher 4 whenever that will come out. But yeah, so. Well, have we got any gaming on this day, Martin? I think you were saying about some.
Just having a look. Mario Kart 64 came out 27 years ago today, which I know, Tom, you're a big Mario Kart fan. But not so much.
Oh, he hates that one.
Oh, Mario Kart 64, dreadful.
That's
controversial, though.
Controversial.
No, a lot of people like that.
Post, like, and subscribe, and send us a message if you want me to. No other exciting.
Parasite Eve 2. I don't know if you've ever played Parasite Eve games.
No, never played any of them. Never played any of
them. Jungle Strike on the Genesis.
Oh no, I loved the Desert and Jungle Strike. In fact, I played one of them a couple of months ago. My God, I forgot how hard they were. Really hard games.
I was pretty young when I was playing, but I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just going around in a helicopter, just shooting at everything.
It was all in the end. You had to sort of go in pixel by pixel,
go back, yeah,
and sort of go, and then you'd set off there. You'd have to rush in, fire a missile or whatever, and then come back out and turn a bit so that their missile will go past you.
That game caused a massive row when I was a kid between me and my friends, because I'd read a snippet in a gaming magazine. They were bringing out the sequel to Desert Strike, which would be Jungle Strike, and big fights as they were like, no, it's not happening, and well, it led to various bundles. And then it came out, and they were, oh, I'm so sorry. So one of my childhood memories there was that one.
Oh, the Wind Waker came out 21 years ago in Japan.
Oh yeah, just that was yesterday, 21 years ago yesterday.
Yeah, and Fatal Frame. That's the one that I got a couple of hours through during my horror attempts.
And then you...
it's very, yeah. The
Sega CD came out 32 years ago. I imagine Tom's or still owns.
Did you see 32 years?
32 years ago.
Wow.
Is that the first CD console, or were there ones before that?
There were ones before that, yeah. But that was probably the first mainstream, well-known. So, yeah. Did I see Gran Turismo then?
Hang on, I'll let you know. Gran Turismo
5, I think I just saw further up.
Hang on, let's have a look. No, you wouldn't have seen. Oh yes, Gran Turismo 5, 16 years ago. Oh my God, 5 was 16 years ago.
Yeah.
What kind of a gap was there between that and 6 and 7?
Oh, massive.
Obviously, 7 came out this year, so...
Yeah, no, there was a massive gap.
16 years between...
Didn't they release
two versions?
Didn't they release Sport in between to kind of just please everyone while they were still working on the follow-up?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think there was like I'm just looking. I never knew this game existed. Donkey Kong Jr. Math came out 40 years ago. It looks like a mix of Donkey Kong.
Oh, yes, let's look at it. 40 years ago on the NES.
What you want to
PSP well, the PSP came out 19 years ago, 2 days ago. Wow. I did play Ridge. Oh, that's one game I played last night. Ridge Racer Revolution.
That's a great game.
Oh my God, that's a really good game.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm playing it on something that can play 60 frames per second and whatnot.
Yeah,
But
referee.
my God, really good game. Yeah. I remember that on the arcades and the PlayStation 1, the original. Yeah, right.
Angry Birds came out 14 years ago, a few days ago as well. Just I
played it first on iOS when I had
it was one of the
I had it on
phones games that like really took off on it. Angry Birds.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I remember. Well, that would have been 2009. So yeah, that was when the iPhone 4, roughly came out around then. And so yeah, I had it on iPhone 4, and
seems like anyone who had a smartphone.
Amazing.
Right.
Well, we've been going for 45 minutes. So
let's call it.
I've just had one interesting bit of gaming news for you retro fans. So the makers of Pixel Addict magazine, available in all good bookshops, have released a one-off annual for Amstrad Addict, which is it's a magazine. I don't know how many pages are in it, but it's quite a large booklet. It's a Christmas special, I guess. And if you're a fan of the Amstrad 464 or 6128, there's definitely lots of things to read in there. So check it out. It's quite reasonably priced as well.
Hang on, I'll just see. I was going to say, found this piece of paper over here. Yes, Tom, we're quite happy to sponsor you for this podcast.
Actually, I bought it yesterday, and I didn't have to make a complaint because when I downloaded it, it only had 2 pages. They then said to me, "That's strange. We'll fix that for you," and then left me to go back in myself to figure out what they'd done. And now I have the magazine, but it is very, very good.
Yeah, excellent.
There we are.
Bit of retro news there. Right.
Yeah.
Like and subscribe.
Yay!
Episode 23. Done.